Hello, this is Ken once again with the National Association of Black and White Men Together. Today, I want to talk about trans rights. And this is an interesting one because the topic is an Ohio Republican stands up for trans rights. What about that? Wow. Some news came Friday that gave an unexpected jolt of hope. Much of the year saw an unrelenting legal assault on queer and trans people. Around 20 states have passed laws restricting access to gender-affirming care for trans and non-binary people. And several have barred using bathrooms that align with gender identity, as they describe. So it's great to hear that Ohio's Republican Governor Mike DeWine vetoed a bill that would ban puberty blockers and hormones and gender-affirming surgeries for trans and non-binary minors in Ohio, and block transgender girls and women from participating in sports as their chosen gender. The Ohio legislature also has a supermajority of Republicans and may well decide to override DeWine's veto. This prevented Ohio from saying that the state government knows better what is medically best for a child compared with the parents. DeWine was speaking as a mainstream Midwestern Republican and who believes the government should be as small as possible and stay out of people's lives as much as humanly possible. This last belief in individual freedom and individual responsibility used to be the backdrop of Republican politics. I am not surprised that defeats keep coming for anti-transgender activists. At the ballot box, hard-right candidates in swing states have tried to persuade voters with lurid messaging about children being subjected to grisly surgeries and pumped full of unnecessary medications. But in race after race, the tactic has failed. This week, a federal judge in Ohio issued a preliminary ruling that a ban on transgender care for minors could not be enforced because it violated the children's 14th Amendment rights, and that, quote, parents should have the right to make the most fundamental decisions about how to care for their children. Of course, the state is expected to appeal the decision. In June, the federal court blocked an Arkansas ban on gender-affirming care for minors. The evidence shows that by prohibiting it, the state undermined the interest it claims to be advancing on protecting children and safeguarding medical ethics. In other states like Texas and Missouri, courts have permitted bans to go into effect, forcing families to make very difficult decisions about whether to travel to receive care or move to a different state altogether. The issue seems destined to reach the Supreme Court soon. The ACLU has asked the Supreme Court to hear its challenge to the care ban in Tennessee on behalf of a 15-year-old transgender girl. The overturning of Roe versus Wade has deeply unsettled the country, unleashing a backlash that has delivered unexpected victories to Democrats and abortion rights advocates. Ohio voters just chose by a wide margin to enshrine the right to end the pregnancy in the state constitution. Americans simply do not want the government making decisions about families' private medical care. Large majorities of Americans believe that the decision to have an abortion is none of the government's business. But gender is one of the most basic building blocks of identity. And even though gender variations of many kinds have been with us for millenniums, the way these changes are being lived out feel to some people like a huge disruption on their way of life. No democracy in Europe, for example, has banned, let alone criminalized care, as many states have done in the United States. What has happened is that under increasing pressure from the right, politicians in some countries have begun to limit access to certain kind of treatments for children through their socialized health system. Republicans are passing draconian laws in the states where they have total control, laws that could potentially lead to parents being charged with child abuse for supporting their transgender children, or threaten doctors who treat transgender children with felony convictions. These statutes have a strong echo of laws in Russia, for example, which is increasingly criminalizing every aspect of queer life. These extreme policies have no place in a democratic society. 2024 is an election year, as you know, and even though transphobia has been proved to be a loser at the ballot box, many Republicans are sure to beat the drum anyway. So vote, and vote when you can, and find the help to vote. Mike DeWine as hoping that some Republicans will remember that once a core principle of the party is keep the government out of my life and let me be free to live as I choose. That's part of our NABWMT ideas and values, and we hope you'll vote accordingly. Thank you for listening.